Like when she started talking about like, yeah, I've been talking to Edley, and I'm like, now the thing is, I already knew her and Edley were cool, but now basically you're talking about a coup. This is not Haiti, bitch. What are you talking about? Like, y'all don't want. Okay, you're telling me you want Nancy's spot, and then Edley wants to go and fuck Selena over and take her spot. I never knew about any elections. This is not election time. Hello, we bonsoir. I'm the Mademoiselle and Sassy Dizium Chanel. Welcome to another video. Today, we're actually be talking about another reason and what led to the downfall of me leaving the Catholic Church. I decided to get all the stories out the way and then hop on to the next church. I hope you guys are enjoying these because honestly, they're taking a lot emotionally for me than I thought. I guess I didn't deal with this as much as I thought I did. And then I just found out that the priest was actually talking shit about me. But then he was in my face recently acting like nothing was wrong. Anyway, let me just start this off by saying I talk to a lot of people in this church still. I don't have an issue with the people individually, but as a collective, I just don't fuck with them. And yeah, there's a lot of different reasons for that. Although, contrary to popular belief, a lot of people think I was kicked out. I was never kicked out of a church. I resigned from my position and just never went back to the church. If you guys are interested in the full series, I'm going to link it down below, along with the Catholic Church series. I think this is video number 4. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole and then move on to the next church, which will probably be Baptist church because I've been to a lot of Baptist churches as well. Comment down below, what is a reason you stopped going to church, or do you plan on going back? I just love to hear your stories with religion down below. And while you're commenting, liking, or hyping the video, let me just take this opportunity to say that if you're seeing my face and you are a little confused, we do have multiple channels. This is my Haitian channel where we talk about Haitian voodoo, politics, folklore, and all spiritual things. I have a personal channel where I do vlogs, story times, etc. Many of you guys may know me from my main channel where I talk about Black social issues, do commentary and reactions, and talk about scams and stuff like that. So I really hope you guys enjoy the other channels. When I'm not posting here, I'm more than likely posting there. If you don't see me posting anywhere, I'm more than likely posting on my Patreon, in which we do have a 7-day $1 trial, or the memberships on my main channel or this channel. Shout outs to all of you guys who are patrons or members, but most notably, shout outs to the investors. If you guys see my shirt, we do have a dance nonprofit. We are raising money for the 2026 dance season. It will be our first dance season. If you guys would like to contribute, everything is going to be right here on the screen or linked down below. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's get into the story. This whole story, it's part of the bigger picture of why I started my own nonprofit, right? So now I touched on this briefly in one of my videos highlighting why I left the church years ago. But I decided I need to go in depth into this bullshit because it sounds crazy and it shows that a lot of these people are selfish. People need to understand that just because people are going to people doesn't mean that you need to accept that shit. You can always remove yourself from any given situation, and do not let people guilt trip you into staying into any situation that is toxic for you, right? So again, this story is part of what led me to leave, right? As you guys should already know, or if you don't know, I was choir director, part of the band, public relations, and I ended off as choreographer. Now, me being a choreographer and me being younger meant I worked under someone, and that's where Justine comes in. Justine was the head choreographer. I was the co-choreographer, right? Now, by this point when this happened, this wasn't something I applied for, and this wasn't something that I sought to do. It kind of happened. I've been dancing my entire life. I've been doing since I was a kid. I've been teaching kids since I was a kid. Dance has always been a passion. And Justine was always the head choreographer, but a lot of the people didn't like her dances. They hated it. A lot of the times I would make a little dance and everybody would want to be in my dance and not in Justine's dance. And I think this created a point of contention. So I think that Justine felt some type of way because nobody wanted to be in her dances, but I just felt like it was her teaching style. Like, I don't think there was anything necessarily wrong with her choreography. It was just difficult to get because she didn't count. And then when she did, it was just a little weird. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into that. because that's not the point of the story, right? So, long story short, me and Justine got kind of close because Justine would bring me to and from Elizabeth to Bloomfield College at the time. We would have meetings from 8 a.m. and I would be there till 6 p.m. The meetings were from 8 to 10, 10:30. Youth group was from 11 to 1. Church was from 1 to 3. When we would be having our annual fundraiser from September to early February, we would be there from 3 to 6, sometimes longer, practicing, getting everything together. Eventually, it got to the point where I got so tired and irritated because everyone was always late. People was always making excuses. There was always some sort of interruption. I was like, listen, if you guys want me to be on this committee, if you guys want me to show up for these 8 o'clock meetings, someone's going to have to bring my ass back to Bloomfield because literally, Elizabeth to Bloomfield is only 20 minutes via car, but I didn't have a car. So on the train or the bus, I'd have to take the 24 to Newark and then take the 29, the 28, the 27B. I think those are the only bus options, or a 30 something, like a 37. I don't remember. I had to take the bus, but the trek would take an hour and a half versus a 20-minute drive. Or I could take the train, but the train had changed. Like it used to stop at Penn, but then it started stopping at Newark Broad Street. I didn't even know what the fuck Newark Broad Street station was. So I'd have to take the bus to Newark Broad Street and then hop on another train. And the train would take forever. It wasn't a train that would come often. It's still not a train that comes often, like the train that goes to Bloomfield, Montclair. So I was like, listen, I'm not about to do all of this, especially on a Sunday. Sunday schedules are trash. We got to figure it out. Justine had volunteered to drop me off to Bloomfield College in the mornings because her daughter went to school nearby. This was great. I was like, listen, I don't got no problem with it. At this time, we became cool because I would see her every Monday morning and she would talk about certain things. Now, put a pin in that, right? At the time, we had a youth group leader. We're going to name her Nancy. Nancy was older, so was Justine. They were all like older than me. If I'm 31, they're all probably in their 40s now. Yeah, they're definitely all in their 40s now. I'll never forget. Okay, at the time, she was definitely 30 something. She's one of those successful Black Haitian women that just never had a man, right? And I think we all know Black women in our lives like this. I saw a documentary on this, right? Where a woman was talking about, like, yeah, a lot of times Black women aren't in these long loving relationships because they're so focused on going to school, getting their shit together, that they miss the opportunity to find a man when they're younger. And unfortunately, this was Nancy. But she did come into love. She found a man and everything was great. But unfortunately, because she found a man, she wasn't doing her job as the youth group leader. I'm telling you, she was never there. It had got to a point where she just wasn't showing up to these 8 o'clock meetings. She would barely show up to the 11 o'clock meeting, but she was always in church. But then after church, she wouldn't even be at the practices. Now, this caused a huge point of contention because obviously you are the director. She's the one that has to see everything, vet everything, and approve everything, especially given that there might be certain things that are inappropriate or culturally out of context that may be taken the wrong way. She got to be there to oversee things, and she wasn't there to oversee things. Me and Justine would talk about this because Nancy would show up to a meeting. Meeting's at 8 o'clock. She's showing up at 10 o'clock. Meeting's probably going to end at 10:30, 11, and she's trying to contest things that we already voted on weeks prior. We would be talking about something, and she's like, oh, no, Tima Mubaka Festa. Like, nah, y'all can't do that. Y'all can't do that. We're doing it because we voted on it 2 weeks ago. So now we spend another 30 minutes arguing about what we can and can't do. We used to be yelling in these meetings. No, da-da-da, but this, da-da-da, just yelling. Toxic, problematic, and extremely unproductive. And it's wild because at the time I was 18, 19, 20, 21 going through all of this. I'm 30 now. And it's crazy to think these niggas was 30 and over, screaming at each other across the table over decorations and song choices for the band. Man, I could never. I'm too old for that. I could never. But that's another story for another time. That was an issue that a lot of people obviously weren't fucking with because it's like, bro, like you're supposed to be here, you're not. And now we have to keep rehashing things when you decide to show up, and that's not okay. Like, I'll never forget, I had a dance piece and there were specific costumes that I had. I can't even tell you what the costumes were, and I can't even remember what the issue was, but I'll never forget. She tried to be like, oh, Ivana, like, they can't wear that. They're wearing it because I bought it and you weren't here when I needed you to be here to approve it. Like, you got the game fucked up. She got so mad, and I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say. That's insanity. I spent my money on these costumes. I went out my way to go get these costumes to make sure that everyone had something, because when I asked for money via the budget, niggas was talking about something, there's no money. So I went out my way. So that's my donation. That's my money. I'm giving y'all the costumes. I'm not keeping them. And I should have. Because again, I spent my money on it. And then what's crazier is Justine went and she actually sewed it up for me because these long, beautiful skirts, they were nice. I got them from Boobies. Okay, Haitian, you don't know what Boobies is? lock in, go find the boobies near you. And they were gorgeous skirts. Since they were so long, we were able to cut them up and make little shawls and little headpieces. They were cute, and Justine sewed them. So for her to tell me I can't wear that, you're crazy. I don't remember what her problem was, but I don't care because we had to perform and we gonna wear that. So that's just a small example, right? And it was mounting up from there. It's like y'all never have money when I ask for it. I'm spending money on things, which means I'm making donations to y'all. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm here from 8 to 6. Y'all disrespectful. So that brought Justine to be like, yo, like, I don't really think that Nancy is doing her job. I think she's been busy. Like, what do you think about me taking over? Now, this is the thing, right? Nobody that I know was talking about removing Nancy from her spot. Although we were annoyed, tired, and just fed up with her, I love Nancy. Nancy is still to this day one of my favorite people. She's like mother. Nancy's like mother. She's mother of the group. And we all knew that eventually Nancy would leave because she's always said, like, by 40, I'm out. Okay, like when I hit 40, I'm out. Like, so we all kind of were preparing for that. And by this point, it wasn't even near that. Like, she was in her early 30s at the time. So it was like, ain't no getting rid of Nancy. So when Justine started talking about, I don't think she should have the job, I was just looking at her like, okay, I'm listening. And she was like, yeah, me and Edleen have been talking. Okay, Edleen was the one that had the spot right under Nancy, but now somebody else had that spot because she ultimately left, right? The person that had that spot, we're just gonna name her Selena, okay? And Selena was my bitch, still my bitch. I love Selena, okay? One of my favorite people ever. You know, like when she started talking about, like, yeah, I've been talking to Edleen, I'm like, now, the thing is, I already knew her and Edleen were cool, but now basically you're talking about a coup. This is not Haiti, bitch. What are you talking about? Y'all don't want, okay, you're telling me you want Nancy's spot and then Edleen wants to go and fuck Selena over and take her spot. So just to clarify, right? Edleen was originally under Nancy years ago, just stopped coming to church, got married, literally got married in a whole nother church. It was this whole thing. I'm gonna post a story about Edleen more than likely after this, or I don't know when I'm gonna post that one. But long story short, a lot of people really liked her in the church, but she randomly stopped coming. But she still had a lot of respect and a lot of people liked her. But still, you left, somebody else got the job. It's not like you told anyone and you announced it and you said you were coming back. Like, she literally just cold turkey stopped coming, got married to somebody else in the group. They both were part of the church, didn't get married in the church, went somewhere else, and then she randomly tried to come back and say that she wanted her job back. Nah, you're not about to do my girl Selena like that. Absolutely not. And you're not gonna do Nancy like that either. She get on my goddamn nerves sometimes. But that's mother, bro. Like, so I'm just like, what is going on here? I never knew about any elections. This is not election time. And the thing is, by this point, we stopped having elections. Okay, we stopped having elections because no one gave a fuck. Like, no one cared to run. Like, when I first got into the group, I remember running for my spot 2 times. I remember having full-blown training and stuff. We stopped. No one cared anymore. No one was coming. It was very empty. We went from like 40 people to like 20 if we were lucky. No one cared. It just became Haiti. I think election. So I'm like, I don't know about no elections coming up. So you sitting here talking about taking Nancy's spot. I don't know. So I'm sitting here listening to her. I'm like, all right, I get it. I get it. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is gonna be interesting. So you guys are probably wondering how this shit went. Let's just say it did not go well. So long story short, Justine and Edleen decided to hash this plan to have a party plan that no one could refuse, that could go very well and put them ahead for being the new heads of the group. Literally being the new Nancy and Selena. And this idea was having a night in Paris party. Now, if you've been here before, or if you are not aware, you would know there's some Haitians that are zuzu, okay, that are real bougie, that love French, everything, self-hating, only speak French, don't speak Creole. But then you have a lot of Haitians that are just like, fuck France, fuck French. Creole should be the national language. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm one of those, and a lot of people in the church are like that, where it's like, nah, we need to lean more into our Haitian Creole, our Haitian roots, and detach from France. They owe us money. Historically, they ain't done nothing for us for real. So when you have people that have that mindset and you're trying to fundraise to them and have them come to a party with the theme of the oppressor, it's not going to go well. Justine and Edleen fought tooth and nail for this idea. I can't even begin to tell you how many meetings we wasted trying to talk them out of this theme and tell them that this theme was a horrible idea. But the thing is, not only was it just a theme, they made the entire thing French. I'm talking about I, being in the band, had to sing in French. My songs that I choreographed that year had to be in French. The food that we served was very French based. The decorations was gorgeous. Probably some of the best decorations we had. You know how people be having those outdoor skylight, fairy light things? We had that. Everything was pink and white. It was really pretty, but nobody was fucking with it because it was French. I'll never forget, I had to sing La Vie en Rose. I hate that song now. Every time I hear it, I'm like, I had to learn the words. Luckily for me, I was taking French AP. Sitting there like, La Vie en Roses. And I was just like, I hate this shit. I want to sing some Jacquard, okay? Zodo, ding, 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 ding. I did not care about this French shit. I want to sing some Sweet Mickey. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Y'all talking about some La Vie en Roses. I didn't want to do that. I was so mad that year. I can't even tell you what songs we danced to. I can't even remember. That's how much I didn't like it. I didn't like that party. I didn't like the theme. Apparently, the public didn't like it as well because no one showed up. It was one of our poorest performing parties. We made no money. We wasted more money than we ever had. Like, we used to spend maybe like $1,500 on the party. That year, we went to over, like, I'm not joking. I remember it was like 2,000. We were in the red. We had to have bake sales out the ass to recoup the money that we lost from this party. So what Justine and Edline thought was finna happen didn't happen. And that's what happens when you try to take niggas' spot. You don't do shit like that. And I did try to tell her, but you know, I'm a kid compared to her. I'm like, I don't know if the way y'all going about it makes sense, but let's see how it goes. I'll never forget. She used to be like, "Oh, we're gonna vote on this today. I didn't know you have my back." Da da da. And I'm like, "I'll vote for it, but nobody else is." And where I started getting annoyed and irritated was when she started trying to dictate what I did. I was in the band. You shouldn't be telling me what song to sing. You shouldn't be telling me what to do with my dances. You have your own dances. So that's when I started pulling away, and I started talking to Selena. I told her what was going on because that's my bitch. I told her late though. I feel like I should have told her earlier, but I told Selena. She thought it was hilarious. I never said anything to Nancy, but I'm very sure she related to Nancy. And then word started to go around, but I don't think anyone believed it. I think people just thought it was an idea in her head. But I do think that when it got to Nancy, Nancy probably saw it as a betrayal because it kind of is like you're trying to overthrow somebody that's already in a position. So whatever. She's sitting there. When I'm telling you, bro, the damage control that her and Edline tried to do to defend this party, defend their decisions, defend the bullshit that they did was insanity. And at this point, nobody was publicly talking about the fact that they were trying to overthrow Nancy and Selena. It was more so like, y'all fought for this idea. We had numerous meetings refuting this nonsense. Y'all still went through with it. We lost all this money. Like, you guys need to come up with an idea on how to fundraise this money back. We can't do no events, no pool party, no movies, no nothing. Like, we ain't got no money to do nothing but pray. We need to pray that we get money. So they're trying to make excuses. Instead of like, yeah, sorry, you know, this wasn't a good idea. They basically tried to come up with ideas and reasons on how it was a successful party. The decorations were gorgeous. It was the snow. Because I do remember that party. I don't remember if it was an impending snowstorm or if it did snow. I remember it was something like that. So they tried to say, oh, it's because it snowed. That's why nobody showed up. We've had parties where it snowed and niggas still came. So that was not the excuse, right? They tried to say the food was the best it ever was. So much food left over, we had to toss it. They tried to say the performances were really good. No, that was my worst performance. I can't even remember the dance performance, but I know singing wise, it was my worst performance. The band, they even went as far as to eliminate all the instruments. It was literally just keys and guitar. We didn't even have a bass. They was like, oh, that's not French. It has to be small. It has to give cafe. On a big ass stage, it has to give cafe. They did the whole thing and it just didn't go well. So this caused an uproar. It caused a huge argument. I'll never forget there was a meeting probably after that where they tried to propose, you know, like that Edline gets her spot back and that Nancy leaves. Justine should take Nancy's spot because that's part of the reason the party didn't go to plan. There were a lot of things that we were supposed to have or do that we couldn't do because Nancy wasn't around. Now, as much as I know and believe that Nancy should have been more present, that ain't had shit to do with why that fucking party failed. The party failed because the idea was dumb. The theme was alienating and was not something that Haitians were going to get behind. Okay, our audience, our demographic does not care about no night in Paris or night in France, whatever the fuck it was. And additionally, it was just poorly executed. Y'all wanted everything to be French, as if we're not Haitian and that's not the oppressor's language and country. Although a lot of Haitians speak French and a lot of Haitians don't think that way, there are still Haitians that think the complete opposite. That's why the party did not go well. And for her to try to throw it on the fact that Nancy hasn't been there was just crazy. Because yes, she wasn't, but many things could be true at the same time. She wasn't there, but we could manage without her, and we have. That party was not the first one we had where she wasn't there. We had a party right before there that went perfectly well without her being there. Her not being there was happening for like 2 or 3 years in the making. It wasn't one of those things where, oh, she stopped being there and then this party happened and it flopped. That's what she was trying to make it seem like. I'll never forget, one of my youth group leaders brought up the receipts. We had a treasurer. He was like, nah, we still made this much this year. We still made this much the year prior. So it has nothing to do with that. She got with him this time, da 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 da. So they got upset. They def got upset. I ain't gonna hold you. Edleen and Justine, they wasn't happy about that, but they had no problem trying to propose the idea publicly. Before this meeting happened, Justine had brought it up to me that she was going to bring it up in the meeting that she wanted to take over Nancy's spot and then Edleen should take over Selena's spot. I told her that's probably not a good idea, especially given the way the party went and that you guys were the ones who decided on this and it went left, but also because we're all recouping from the loss and the fact that that party was low-key, high-key embarrassing because barely anyone showed up. Right now, we could try to use the snow as an excuse, but we all know what's up. So maybe you should wait a little bit. She's like, no, I'm not going to wait. I feel like there's an extra layer to this I'm not remembering. It could have been an event that was coming up and she wanted to make sure that went well because it was mainly something that she was doing. So she wanted to make sure she had control of the funds. It was something like that. It was one of those things. Whatever. I was like, listen, I don't know. She was like, well, you gonna vote for me? Like, I'm gonna go for a motion. So I'm sure you guys know what a motion is. Basically, it's like, oh, everybody in favor of Justine being the new Nancy, aye, type shit. I was like, I don't know, sis. That party didn't go well. I keep telling you not to do this right now. You're not listening. Voting for you would probably be career suicide. She's like, oh, I need to make sure you have my back. I don't know, just trying to give me this whole spew, da 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 da. And I was like, listen, Simla. If I even go to the meeting, y'all, I remember I skipped the meeting this Sunday just to make sure I missed this shit. And she made sure the meeting was the following Sunday so I could be there. That pissed me off. We show up to this meeting and I don't even know what we were talking about. I don't even think we were talking about the party anymore. Before the meeting gets started, I'd like to propose that I become the new director of the group and take on Nancy's spot. Uproar. Craziness. Yelling. It did not go well. Edleen didn't even get to speak. Edleen was like, yeah, we just feel like immediately cut off. Immediately cut off. Okay. And she's just like, let me finish. Let me finish. No. Are you guys serious? Especially after that party that you guys pulled. It didn't even go well. Like it, bro, just jumping down their throats. And so you're basically trying to say you want to come back and take Selena's spot. Well, yeah, it's nothing against you, Selena. I did have the spot first. Selena was like, okay, and you left. So, and I'm just like, this is me the whole time. Child, everybody was going off. Everybody was giving their own speech of how what they were doing was wrong, how they did something extremely selfish to get their points across instead of going through things the proper way and going through the right channels. And I completely agree. There was a way to go about it without being sneaky, conniving, and then making us lose thousands of dollars in the process. Like the situation of Nancy and Edleen wanting their spots back could have been a sidebar, especially with dealing with the way that group was. They could have worked beside them. I guarantee you that group would have made an entire new position for both of them so they can come back. But nah, they wanted their spots. They wanted Nancy and Selena to step down, be out, whatever the case may be. That was another nail in the coffin because it was like, oh, y'all shy straight. Like, oh, y'all shy. Y'all do all this over unpaid positions. Unpaid positions, positions in which you are not on the payroll. That's weird. So fast forward, as you guys can imagine, it did not go well. They did not get their spots. They remained in whatever spots they were. Edleen crawled right back into the hole in which she came from. I honestly wasn't fucking with the whole Edleen thing because not only was Selena my girl, but we had also just got yelled at for some shit that she decided to do on her own will. So I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, maybe I'll vote for you. No, that's the thing. Like I said, Nancy was mother. So I just couldn't do it. After that, Justine kind of pulled away. She wasn't really there as much. Like I said, she was choreographer, but she also helped the younger kids. By this time, we had decided to separate the group. We had the older kids at 12 and up in one group, and then the kids 11 and under in another group. She was the one helping them, and she just became very distant. At this point, she stopped doing her job. I took on all choreography, and she would show up when she wanted to. She would show up only for the group. She wasn't showing up to committee meetings. Honestly, she wasn't really missed because she was causing a lot of conflict and problems. A lot of the time, I kind of forgot she even existed. That's what brings us to the meeting that actually led me to saying, fuck this and fuck y'all. Because are you kidding me right now? I truly believe that me not voting for Nancy and Edlene led to this. It caused a ripple that was felt everywhere. And I guess it is what it is. I said what I said. I meant what I said. And I wouldn't have changed what I did for the world. Make sure you guys comment down below. Have you had any similar situations in a church? I don't think this is going to be a common occurrence. Let me know why you left a church. Comment your church stories down below. Scan the lovely QR code on the screen for more information and all my links. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see y'all in the next part because shit is insanity. Check out LakayRo too. Shout out to those of you guys who sent those donations. See y'all in the next one. Bye.